Sit down and listen to records. Smell the cover, read all the verses. Tell me about your favorites on Vinyl and Vision.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to our latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. I'm your host Jimmy Drab. Tonight's my guest is my friend Dave Tessier. Dave is a very interesting kind of jack of all trades when it comes to the art scene in the Providence. He is currently an actor. He's acting in a play at the moment, which we talk about in our interview, and he's also a very talented musician. He has a number of different recordings that he's put out that you can find, and I will obviously link them on the home pages, so find them on the homepage of the video or the audio stream, whichever you are listening to. And I do ask you to please give him some support. Dave is very unique because he is a true arts man, song and dance man, if you will, because this is his sole income. He has no other job. His job is to create, and that's what he does. And I'm just really admire and respect him. He's just a vast wealth of knowledge when it comes to Genesis, which is our featured album tonight, which is 1971's Nursery Cryme release. The copy we sat down with is actually a German pressing, which I believe is a 71, maybe a 73 copy. I'm not too sure about that. I get into more details in the interview. But it's a great copy of a record, and it's an amazing record. And he really kind of, sitting down with him to have him describe it to me was just kind of put it in a much better perspective for me and gave me a much more deeper admiration and respect for it. And so I hope he does the same for you. I hope you enjoy it. And as I was saying before, please follow the links to all of the projects that he's working on. If you want to do order a limited, one-of-a-kind copy pressed on vinyl of a song of his, you can do that. I'm going to link the website to go to the selections that he has for this project, which keep him busy all day. Keep him down in Brooklyn, recording all day long, and order as many songs as you like. Order all 5 if you like, or just choose any 1 or 2, and that would be of much help to him and just to the project in general. You get a one-of-a-kind lathe cut 45 of a live song, basically, recorded in the studio. So, sounds like a great idea. I'm definitely going to try to get my own, and I encourage you guys to do the same. And if not, just follow the links to all the download streams, the Spotify, iTunes, everywhere else he has his music available. Please give him some support. Please, consider buying one of his records. And without further ado, here's our episode. Enjoy. Fucking overhead lights have gone out. Sweet. Everything's going fucking perfect. Cheers, Dave.
Thank you, James.
Thank you for coming.
Glad to be here. Oh, that's fantastic.
You like that?
Happy St. Paddy's Day. That is really great.
Happy St. Patrick's Day for sure. I keep on forgetting about that holiday
because you're a professional drinker.
Yeah. So I don't, fuck around with these amateur days. But it's also been the bane of my existence because my birthday's the day after.
Oh, I didn't know that. So
yeah.
Happy pre-birthday.
Thank you. It's almost there. A couple hours away.
Just closer, one day closer to death, as they say.
Yep, that's for sure. Definitely feeling it. All right, so welcome to the show, Vinyl and Vision, episode 9.
9. Excellent.
9 already, yeah.
I beat just before the double digits.
Yeah. So tonight is going to be very cool. Tonight we have Dave Tessier. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Dave?
Yes, you are.
Tessier.
Yeah.
It's French, right?
Oui.
Oui, bonjour. Bonjour, mon ami.
Quebecois.
I don't know too much. French.
Well, me neither, but I know we're from Quebec.
Okay.
The Tessier is from Quebec.
Oh, okay, so the good French.
Yeah, side by each over, up the north.
So
play the hockey.
Yeah, man. So you've been busy.
I've been pretty busy, man. Yeah.
Always keeping busy too. This is your gig.
Yes, I like to stay busy. I like to always have a project. I like to take like 8 days a year of doing nothing, completely nothing,
Yeah.
But in general, I like to always kind of keep going. I don't know. I'm kind of on or off. You
Yeah.
know?
Like 8 days straight, like that's like vacation time. You kind of just like.
Yeah, exactly. We do that like in August. We go away, and I don't think about anything. But understanding, even when I'm going full tilt, it's never. I mean, I almost never work like a 12-hour day, all in a row. It tends to be very focused,
Right.
4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
So it's not all that bad.
Yeah. But so because basically performing, whether it be music or acting,
Correct.
is your primary gig.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
And rehearsing is a big part of that. And
Yeah.
that's a great example of a bit of time that you have to give up that you might not necessarily do a lot during.
Right.
You might end up sitting on your butt for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas that's theater. Whereas with the bands, we have to keep sharp, and when we rehearse, we work pretty hard, make sure that we're doing the right stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's better than for me. It's better than selling auto parts like I used to do. No offense to auto part sellers. We need you.
No. Everyone
But
has a
I didn't do
purpose.
retail. I didn't do well with that. So yeah, a lot of performing, a lot of rehearsing.
Yeah. I've done retail too, and it's not a good
It
gig.
wasn't great for me.
Yeah. No, I understand. I can completely understand where how that makes sense.
I do have an interesting gig that has come out of all of this, which is being an actor. I will sometimes work. The job is called a standardized patient for the Brown Medical School, where you basically get a case and you pretend to be sick or wounded or whatever.
Yeah.
And the doctoring students come in and interview you and maybe give you a physical.
And they try to guess your ailment.
Yeah, basically. Yep.
It's like, you've got a broken arm.
Exactly. And that's an interesting gig I'll do a couple times a month throughout the school year.
Yeah.
But it's basically an acting job, but it's also kind of a day job.
Yeah. So what did they prep you by like giving you the ailment and saying, okay, so here are the symptoms.
That's
this is
exactly
what you
right.
have to tell.
They send me a
doctor.
PDF case.
Yeah.
You're a 48-year-old male complaining of chest pain
Mm-hmm.
for the past 3 days.
Yeah.
You're on these medications, but you haven't been taking this medication, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or it could be very simple. It could be a sprained ankle. That's an easy one, for instance.
Uh-huh.
You're running, rolled your ankle. That's all you have to say. You show them a picture of an ankle that's all swollen and black,
Mm-hmm.
and they go by that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an odd thing. I believe
Yeah.
there was a Seinfeld episode
For that
about
profession.
this very thing. Yeah. Kramer, I think, had a job.
Of course he did.
I gotta look that one up. But anyway, I ramble.
No, that's all right. Hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to ramble on.
ramble.
Basically, yeah. So what's the show you're doing now? You're doing Our Town?
I am doing Thornton Wilder's Our Town with the Burbage Theater Company in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, running Fridays, Saturdays at 8 and Sundays at 2 for the next 4 weeks up until April 7th, I think, is our final Sunday matinee.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah.
It's a nice piece of epic theater. Not too long. Very, very tear-jerky.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
I recommend at least reading it if you haven't.
Well,
I say that I never read it till I got the job.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't seem high on the priority list,
No, I can see why.
especially for like kind of a classic Southern style theater, or playwrights. What do they call that?
A playwright. That'd be a playwright. You mean the writer himself?
No. I'm talking about the actual
It's
script.
just a script.
Just the script. Okay.
Yeah.
To Kill a Mockingbird is probably the most well known, right?
If you want to go southern.
Because that's what it is, isn't it?
No. Well, Our Town is actually set in New Hampshire. It's a New England story.
Oh, okay.
Just about a town in New Hampshire. Grover's Point, New Hampshire. Grover's Corner. Oh, excuse me. I'm just the town doctor. I don't need to know what it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a classic. It's almost a cliche of itself at this point.
Yeah.
The language is very old-fashioned. Well, I declare, easy
Yeah.
as kittens, stuff like that.
I think-
That's literally one of my lines.
Yeah. That's why I thought it was kind of more southernish because it has that
That kind of drawl
to it.
to that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just putting the drawl on because I'm a lousy actor, but it sounds like that to me as well.
Yeah.
I think I have one of my lines is something like, I was afraid wouldn't have material for conversation more and last us 2 weeks. And it's spelled that way, more and last us 2 weeks. And to me, that lends itself to a bit of a,
Yeah.
a drawl.
It definitely has like a hick vibe to it.
Can't get that from here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there are sections of that here in the state that I can definitely think of.
Oh,
Definitely
for
some
sure.
guys that I've met that are,
right.
you know, a little bit on that.
Yeah,
that,
dialects
that
are
twinge to it.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what Cranston alone?
Cranston.
You can't. Yeah, it's. I grew up in Cranston, so
Oh, that's
I'm
a tough
allowed to you know brutalize on that.
Vonda, pass me the cockies. I don't know if that
Cockies.
might be more Johnston. It's tough. I grew up in the Crux.
We all have like that same thing where
David.
even people that describe the Boston, Massachusetts kind of accent as well. Park the car over here.
Over here.
You're basically not pronouncing your R's, basically.
Yeah, but that's such an oversimplification of it when you think of like, oh, it's wicked pissa, boy. Kid. The socks. We're gonna wash your socks.
Yeah. See, I'm not good at that deciphering like dialogue, like accents, and even like characteristics, like physical traits, because my mom is like a master at that. My mom is like one of those people. First of all, she's from Bolivia. Okay, so she's not from here. She's lived here all my life in Rhode Island. So, but she can pinpoint all of those things locally.
She has a great ear.
And in Bolivia, because every region of Bolivia, like every city, basically, has different dialects, different accents to the way they pronounce things, or like dialects as far as like what words they'll use.
Yep.
And then physical features, actual physical traits, and she can just like look at someone and say like, "Oh, she's from Santa Cruz."
That's amazing.
I'm from Cochabamba. She's from Santa Cruz. That one's from La Paz. And I'm just like, what the fuck? You all look the same. You all look the same.
And that one's from Cranston.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah. She has that ability. Like for me, it's just like, you're all speaking the same language. You're all speaking Spanish. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy to me.
There's subtleties. That's amazing.
Right.
The subtleties between Johnson and Cranston. I don't know if I could get into that. But, between Massachusetts and down here, I hear that very clearly. And then Connecticut, where they pronounce, well, at least where some of my family in Connecticut were from, they very much pronounced their R's.
Yeah.
And spoke very properly from what I remember. When I was growing up, I could just tell the difference between how they pronounced car and the way I did.
Yeah.
The cockies. Forget the cockies.
The cockies. That's always the big one, the cockies.
And turning D's at the end of names into T's, like Richard.
Oh.
Well, Robert has a T, but Robert, Richard, David. I heard that
It's
a
like
lot.
that CHT almost.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't get it. I'm just like, we're all speaking English. I don't care. As long as I can understand what you're
Is
saying.
it a tomato or tomato?
So now, in addition to Our Town, you guys are doing you told me a little bit about this, and it sounds like a really great idea, is you're doing live recording to vinyl.
Yes. Okay, so my band, myself and the guys in my band, the all-star band of all-star stars, are heading down to Brooklyn, New York, to a small studio called Least of All Studios. And what they do there is they put up a website for you for a pre-order, and you put up a list of whatever songs you're willing to record, and folks will pre-order a song, and you will play a song live for them that gets cut directly to vinyl with nothing in between. So it becomes it's one of a kind live recording for the purchaser.
Wow.
And you put on, a personal message, hey, Bob, this one's for you. 2, 3, 4, and we're going to do that. We just thought it would be kind of interesting and fun. And I like the idea of one-of-a-kind recordings, particularly in this digital age where it's great that I can, like, for instance, hear a demo that Black Sabbath did in '68 by going on YouTube. But it's also kind of great that, like, there can be only one copy of something too, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, as far as like vinyl collectors are concerned, I mean, that's like holy grail stuff.
Yeah.
You know, test pressings of things, you know, where it's just like,
It's
you know,
really
there's
neat.
these extremely limited things that, you know, there are only so many of them in the world. Now, you're saying that there's only going to be one of those,
Right.
which is obviously as rare as you can
It's
get.
not as cool as Wu-Tang, whoever did that
Yeah,
recently.
no, I mean, like, you know, a limited pressing is cool and it's desirable. I can totally see the you know, the value in that. But this one-off pressing, that's very great.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I like it.
Yeah. So I was actually that kind of already answered my next question, which was like, first of all, if you get multiple requests for the same song, you have to do the
Yep.
the second take.
Each time, yep. You have to do
It's
one
not
for
like
each.
you can be like, okay, well, just press that one again. Let's like send that.
No,
No.
that is correct. It is individual. So however many orders is how many shots we're going to do. And my guess is they're not giving you second chances at this place. Because they're not charging us to do it. You know, I don't know
Really?
how they're making their money. Well, they're making their money by
Off of the
selling.
pressing,
Because we're
right.
not getting paid to do it either.
Right. Right.
You know, so it's
Wow. So this is a real labor of love process.
absolutely to take the trip down there. But I don't know, myself and my guys, it's, you know, labor of love. It's what we do. We love. This is what we do. It's not even so much love. It's our lives.
Right.
And you know, we do enough general business shows and restaurants and cover band shows and Monkeys tribute shows that any chance to do our own music that we created together, we realize that's kind of like the pinnacle of our artistic lives. So we
Right.
make a priority of it. And I know I appreciate those guys being willing to go do it. I particularly appreciate they share my philosophy on that.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of important.
That's the only way a band works, really.
Well, and as just individual artists too, to constantly keep pushing and creating, I think is important.
Yeah.
You know, all your output doesn't have to be good, but I think it's important to keep putting out something.
Right.
You know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Always trying, pushing the boundaries. Yeah. Always writing new stuff. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've fallen off that, and I can kind of see where that would get a little maddening to an artist, to someone that wants to create. To not have the ability, not have the accessibility, not have the just the people to work with to help
Yeah.
in that process, because working by yourself can also be a fucking drag
Yeah.
on a lot of occasions.
And think about like a lot of actors or people who want to like direct a play, and that takes so many people.
Right.
You know, rock band is difficult enough trying to get 3-4 people in a room.
Right.
But now you want someone to light the room, and you got to borrow a room, and you need somebody to move stuff in the room.
Yeah.
It's
And you
yeah,
gotta direct
collaboration's a
music.
bitch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. That's why I'd prefer to do things by myself, but at the same time, that also has its drawbacks.
Yep.
You know. So.
Oh, but it's sweet sometimes. Not
Oh, yeah.
having to ask permission.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But you know, so bless you and bless your band for you know,
Well, thank you.
being in agreement, and all of you guys just, you know, being on the same page and just loving the work.
Yeah, we even if we weren't playing together, everyone would be making sounds elsewhere.
Everyone would be doing
yeah,
something.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But they all are. That's why I call them the all-star band.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own band.
Yeah.
They just kind of come together to do this stuff with me sometimes. Because I think we come up with some good projects. We've done Jesus Christ Superstar, for instance.
Yeah.
We like to play deep tracks. We did a progressive rock set with some early Genesis and some, you know,
Covering it?
lengthier Pink Floyd, Dogs, for instance.
Cool.
The 17 minutes of Dogs we whipped out. So we like to kind of keep it interesting.
Yeah.
And then we have to play a restaurant, and we play Blinded by the Light, and we play, you know, some
Right.
Monkey songs, and everyone's happy, and that's good too.
Helps pay the bills, right?
Absolutely, that's what pays my bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a lie. My wife pays my bills. That's what pays for my toys.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, it works.
Yeah,
You're
it still
married,
works
and that's part of the.
and I'm still married despite this lifestyle, and I think
well,
that's
because she's
great.
also an artist like you,
Yes.
so you guys have that mutual connection, and obviously you have that mutual need to create, and therefore acceptance of each other and
Absolutely. And
your time.
the priority that we put on creating for both of us, you know, if she's directing a show or I'm working on something, even just as simple as working on something in the basement, you know,
Right.
we treat each other with a lot of respect for that stuff. You're learning the lines, I'm learning my song,
Right.
you know, block the kids. It works out.
Yeah, that's great. I can imagine the stress. I mean, we're kind of in the similar situation, not perfectly, exact, but yeah, I'm here right now.
Right.
So
She's running interference. It's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, she's taking care of the kids, making sure they get to bed, all that stuff.
It's teamwork, James.
Yeah.
That's what marriage is about.
You
Teamwork's.
damn right.
Teamwork.
Yeah, there's no other way. So, what else am I going to ask you about? You chose this record,
Yes.
Genesis Nursery Cryme.
Well, you put it up on the Facebook.
Yeah, well, because I wanted people to kind of let me know what their interests were, because
And it stood out.
I can't pinpoint everybody.
Yeah.
For the most part, all of my guests as of up until now, I basically found things that I was just like, this makes me think of them. I'm going to ask them, and it's just too hard for me to figure that out. Like I was just talking to another guy today, and I was just like, I don't even know what you like. I know what you do, but that doesn't necessarily reflect on what your
The influences are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was smart the way you did that because there was very varied, all the album covers you put up.
Yeah, I mean, there was some hip hop in there.
Yeah.
There was prog rock and kind of straight up classic rock.
And you had the two
punk.
Genesis that I noticed. This one and Foxtrot. And the Jeff Beck was up. But absolutely, I mean, there's two of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
So immediately it caught my eye.
Perfect.
And it's so rare. I don't know a ton of people who even know those albums exist.
Yeah. Genesis was a new find for me. I mean, because I knew them since I was a child, since I was very young.
But you knew the 80s
the Phil Collins
Genesis,
era. Yeah, the fucking I Can't Dance and all that shit.
Right.
But so this was very interesting to me. This is one of those really rare bands where, as you get older, you start to realize that they have a much lengthier past than you ever knew about.
Yep.
And then you go deep diving into it for one reason or another, whether it be you're just keenly interested or you follow the careers of the other members, like Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins most memorably out of this act. And you're like, oh well, they're doing this shit now, like it's okay, but I'm just like, okay, so what did they do before this? Like, how did they get to that point?
I always call it the why they're famous factor.
Yeah.
It's like if you only see the footage of the bloated Elvis, you're not going to understand. You need to see the 57 Elvis,
The sexy Elvis.
to understand how he could then become bloated and still be doing what he was doing with those millions of people. And yeah, exactly what you're saying. There were so many bands in the 80s that were like old men.
Yeah.
On the radio and on MTV that I just didn't get. Phil Collins being one of them.
Like Yes and Jefferson Airplane or
Yeah,
Starship
yes,
at that point.
that's when they were doing Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Yeah.
Right. Starship. Exactly. All of these people. I'm like, where the hell did these old people come from?
Right.
And it turns out, well, they used to be young people.
They used to be young people and in these like
rolling.
really great, amazing, influential bands that have actually influenced people that are even now being successful.
Yeah. Quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I
And
love
this early Genesis, a lot of people I don't think know that, like Fish, the band Fish, they were a huge influence on Fish.
Oh, I can
and you
see
hear it all over the first couple of albums.
Yeah.
In kind of the compositional style and whatnot. But you're gonna, you might not find a lot of Fish fans that would even think to listen to some Genesis. They're immediately gonna think what you thought. I Can't Dance.
Right. It's like, oh, that shit sucks, even for me. I listen to Fish.
Right.
I can't tolerate that.
There's something that happened in the 80s with Genesis, and to me, losing some members was a big deal. But when they switched to the more 80s sounding synthesizers, Mike Rutherford switched to guitar, and he's playing these chorusy, chintzy guitar licks, and making the bass more of a kind of a second line instrument. And Phil Collins, of course, using the drum machine because he was singing. So he would use while they were working together, he'd put on a drum machine and they would he'd sing rather than play. even though a lot of hits came out of that, I think that's kind of what annoys me about that whole era is just the general sound and tones that they chose.
As for like most 80s acts, like
Pretty-
across the
pretty
board.
much all of them. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I
it's
forget
terrible.
which synthesizer it was in particular, but it's like every band has that horror
Yamaha
story,
DX7.
something like that. Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, that came out and every studio had one and everyone was playing one, and it just is all over every song in the 80s, and it's just and you can tell because it all kind of does sound the same.
Versus a lot of people would think maybe that Jump from Van Halen is that synth, but it is not. That's the Oberheim that Rush used. If you're into your Rush trivia there, and that was a very pleasant sound. That it was actually kind of like a throwback to some of the earlier synthy Moog kind of sounds.
Yeah.
But then it seems like nobody used that one. They all went to the Yamaha, and exactly what you said happened. At least that's what it sounded like to me.
That's I agree.
I'm no expert.
I am not an expert either, but I feel the same way. I mean,
no offense.
Yeah, no, there's plenty out there that I think there's plenty of people that would probably agree as far as being a layman is concerned. You know, it's like I'm no rock journalist. I'm not a.
And the Simmons drums, those octagon plastic electronic drums that sounded terrible.
Right.
Those were huge. Really, it influenced a whole decade of sound.
A shitty decade of sound. It's just us being,
we're old.
Yeah, just kind of finicky old time.
I didn't. The only '80s bands I liked were U2, a little bit of REM. I loved U2.
Well, they even had their eras.
Yep, they all do.
Their earlier era, where they're kind of more punk rock, really.
Yep, I think their first album is brilliant.
Yeah,
piece of genius right there.
Yeah, and I can tolerate them well into the '80s.
Yep,
because it didn't feel like they were one of those bands that seemed to not want to go the route of that pop '80s band, even though they were becoming themselves a popular band.
Yeah, it's when they started to be like after Achtung Baby there. Well, you could argue the Joshua Tree. They started to get a little pompous, but that dude was always kind of pompous. I mean, the concerts all the way back to the '80s. He's pulling people out of the audience and hugging them. That's his thing. Yeah. It's fine. I love him.
The musical styling, though, I could probably listen up into the Unforgettable Fire. That would probably be the last one, I think. I can't remember the discography in order.
Joshua Tree's after that, and I like that one a lot. And then Achtung Baby came out
Baby is
5 years later. I think it has some good pieces in it, but it was very different.
Very pop.
And they were going for that. They were
lost the edge. Not the guitar.
I mean, they had the edge, but they lost the edge.
The edge lost his edge.
It seemed like they were being ironically poppy, and it's like that doesn't read, man.
And if they were, they lost themselves in that.
Yeah.
Because then it was just pop after pop.
And some people love it. But then, now we get to the Dismantle the Atomic Bomb album. I thought that was great.
Really?
The Stuck in a Moment. I thought that was fucking gorgeous song.
Can
I say fucking?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
you can say whatever.
Fucking
you want.
gorgeous.
You can say cunt if you want. Yeah, I don't care.
Oh, great.
It's a great word.
No, that's over the line.
Not in my house. It's not. I encourage it. Please.
One of my proudest is it a moment? Achievements. One of my proudest achievements as a father is how well my boys swear.
Oh yeah.
They're not supposed to swear, but good God, they're good at it.
Oh wow.
When something goes wrong, like if we're in another room and they're playing their Mario Land, and one of them makes the other one die, it's like fuck, Luke, fuck. And he's like, what? Hey, what did I just hear?
Yeah.
Like, nothing. Sorry.
Yeah.
But they're so good at it. God damn it.
My kids are good at hiding it because I know they know the words. Because it's really funny. My wife has this story where she was home with the kids one day, and she's talking to them. I don't know how it got brought up, but she was just like talking to them about bad words, like dirty words, like what do you know? Like she said whatever something. I almost said a bad word, and they're like, oh really? Like what were you gonna say? She's just like,
which one do you want to hear?
Yeah, or something like that. And so she was basically saying like do you know bad words? And they're like, yeah. She's like, well, what kind of bad words do you know? And they're like, shoot. Just like, oh, that's not a bad word. She's like, and then they're like, shit. She's just like, oh yeah, that's a bad one. And then it's like, fuck. She's like, oh, that's the worst one. Yeah, that's not a good one at all.
That's the worst one until they yell, "Okay, she was a cunt, Mom."
Yeah. Then I'll just laugh. That'll be great.
We're watching Better Off Dead, the 80s romantic comedy hit. And the girl, right off the bat, at the beginning of the movie, the girl breaks up with John Cusack and shreds his picture and puts the new cool guy's picture in the frame.
Right.
And then ignores him while he doesn't make the ski team. And my oldest goes, "She's a whore." And right now, knowing that I'm going to get in more trouble than he is from my wife, I immediately intervene. "No, Jack, we don't say that. You would never call a woman that. A better word for her would be..." And damn it, we couldn't think of a better word because, we're talking about the character.
Promiscuous.
Yeah, she's fickle and promiscuous.
She's loose.
Loosey loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Anyone other girl
She's
that you
a
notice like that,
whore.
just don't talk to them.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the bottom line.
Just wrap it up.
Just
wrap
know.
it up, kid.
Just know the difference, okay? Just know the difference in people, and don't say it. Just know, and just be good with that.
And if you do say it, you didn't learn it from me. I'm going to go total deniability. Like the CIA, you're cut off.
Right. That's great. Good, man. Good for you. I mean, I gotta. That reminds me. I gotta watch that movie. I gotta put that on the list.
It's on YouTube for free, the whole movie, because apparently you can't find it anywhere. Because apparently the rumor I heard was John Cusack hates it, and so it's not available on DVD or anything. I think that's kind of hard to believe, but it is on YouTube.
I think I could probably find a copy. I don't want to have to pay for it, but I could probably find a copy somewhere. Maybe even the library. Just request it, whatever. Just to watch it. I like the library a lot. I utilize them as much as I can.
You're probably right, but it's
a great
probably
resource.
on VHS.
That's okay. I have a player.
Okay. There we go.
I got all the media,
All the
dude.
players you need.
Yeah.
VHS machine, to me, is a useful thing to have, even in this day and age. There's some gems you're going to find in the 1 cent bin.
Maybe. I don't like watching them. I gotta admit, I've become stubborn in my
ass.
the quality. I'm just
the sound quality in particular. As they degrade, you get that hiss.
Yeah,
like it's worse and worse.
But even just the video quality.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it hurts me to watch VHS.
Well,
I don't know. It's just
it's
a bad medium.
Snobby pants over here.
It's a bad medium. I'm becoming more acclimated to good quality things. Good sound quality, good visual quality.
Like my bespoke video made with 100% leather.
So your record, the one that I heard, Dreams in Hyperspace.
Dreams in Hyperspace,
which is available on Spotify.
On Spotify, and it's on the iTunes, and there's no physical copies except at gigs. We do have physical copies you can buy at shows. But,
CD?
Yep, on CD.
Okay.
And the idea is that's supposed to be like the first side of a vinyl record that we were supposed to have done. That
first side?
Yeah. The second side has been somewhat recorded, but we kind of hit some speed bumps in the recording process, so we haven't quite finished it yet. But the idea was to be a double, an LP, and hopefully that will still happen. But for right now, Dreams in Hyperspace, side 1, available on Spotify.
So
and CD at gigs.
If you don't mind me asking, then what is the hiccup for getting the second side done? Is it financial, or is it just like production wise, like?
It's the time getting everybody together. There's the financial issue of getting a studio where we had some donated time that we were very grateful for from Railroad Park Recording Studio out in Westport, Mass. They really, really hooked us up with that. But we don't have any money to continue. So we were doing it in our own studio, and that's basically the hiccups are everyone having different gigs, different schedules. So we've got some backings done. And then, now I'm doing a play. So that now I'm out of commission for the next few weekends. We can only do it on weekends, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So we're just going slow. We're not forcing it. But that's all. It should come out this year. Oh, my God.
Okay. And you plan on pressing vinyl?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, that has been the plan all along because I love vinyl.
Yeah.
And since I was a kid, I wanted to put out a record, and I never have. I've put out a handful of CDs, some cassettes back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
But actually 145.
Oh.
But I've never done a full.
And now you're going to be pressing all those.
Yeah, no, a bunch
one
of
of a
little tiny
kind
45s. Yeah, it's a little one of a kinds.
Is there going to be a B-side to those? No, it's just going to be one side.
I don't know. I assume it's just going to be the one side.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going live to
Right?
to acetate, I guess
It's
it's going to be a lathe cut. I presume
it is. It says it's direct to the lathe, and they cut it as we go.
So you're probably going
it's
to have
gonna
a blank side.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be a big, heavy piece of plastic, I would think, right?
Yeah. Cool.
We shall see.
Yeah. And by the way, speaking of that, so what is the list? How many songs do you have that people can choose from?
We put 5 songs on. I think they're all 3 Dreams in Hyperspace songs and 2 songs that are brand new that we've only played live that we haven't recorded.
Oh. Okay.
So those are the special ones.
So that's it, just 5 songs to choose from?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
$25 pop.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I mean, it for what it is. I mean, that's the value behind it. I mean,
yeah, I would like to think that's if you're into that kind of thing, it's worth $25.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And like I said, our keyboard player's dad buying one of each song, hooking us up.
That's great, man. And you're not getting any of that money.
Nope.
That's all going to the studio
All
basically
goes to
for
the
their
studio who is
materials.
not charging us, and yep.
Sounds like a deal.
They do all the shipping. They do a bunch of the promotion. Actually, I just got an email. I'm not quite done reading about a free shipping code I can now offer until March 24th. I have to put that up on the website there.
Cool.
So it's a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking forward to it. Should be interesting.
So back to Dreams in Hyperspace.
Dreams in Hyperspace.
You sent me the majority of the record or the one side. Let's just
Well,
call it.
Dreams in Hyperspace itself is a little space opera, and that is a whole piece. That's what I sent to you, and that would be side 1.
Okay.
Side 2 is just separate songs that aren't related.
So that wouldn't be like? Do you think you'd actually have like a second name to the record? Like if you put it out all together, side A, Dreams in Hyperspace.
No, we'd still call it just Dreams in Hyperspace,
Okay.
but side B, some more experimental stuff. A couple of straight up songs.
More experimental.
But yeah,
Cool.
it's some, along the lines of what's on the first side, where you have some short clips, more of that, but more atmospheric. Some short clips that are more. I don't want to give anything away, but basically, organized nature sounds versus instrumental sounds.
Well, so I mean, I don't think you're giving anything away because no one can hear it yet.
Good point.
But they can hear the entire first side.
Yep.
You can listen to it in its entirety on Spotify if you want to.
Yep.
If you have an account, I don't have a Spotify account, so if I try to play it on Spotify, it just puts
Actually,
it on random.
YouTube though, CD I put it out through CD Baby. You can and CD Baby then makes a YouTube page for each song.
Oh,
It's
okay.
really odd, and supposedly I get a royalty if you listen to it, like
if you get a certain amount of listens.
1/100th of a cent.
Yeah, for every 1,000
whatever.
listens.
For every 1,000 listens. So yeah, I'm planning on having that operation with that money later. So you can listen to it on YouTube. Is my point.
Oh, okay. So
Get
either
some
way,
bourbon in me, I'm rambling.
hey, that's all right. I'm gonna get there myself.
Do you have a warning on your computer there, bro?
Yeah, it just says no internet.
Oh, okay.
I get no internet.
We don't need no stinking internet.
I don't need that right now. I don't give a fuck. But when I do hit the 2 hour mark, that thing's just going to automatically shut off. That's what
Okay.
it's been doing to me lately. So I'm improvising for
Well,
that time.
jeez, you better move on.
Yeah, I don't, that's not to kill too much time, but there's a lot to talk about. I mean, you have a pretty lengthy career basically at this point. We got to talk about your new project, the pressing of the vinyl that
Yep.
you're going to be doing, these one of a kind vinyl pressings. I wanted to talk about Dreams in Hyperspace because I think it's actually a very good record for what it is now. I mean, you're saying it's not done yet, but from what I heard,
that piece
of
is done. That's a piece. So to me, that's done.
Yeah, but because I saw it on Spotify as being Dave Tessier, Dreams in Hyperspace.
Yeah.
That's it. I thought that was the record. I thought it was done.
Yep.
So not knowing that, I mean, I thought it was a good piece. If you're saying you're going to add to it, then great. I look forward to seeing the other half.
But again, we're not exactly adding to that story. We're just going to basically re-release it on vinyl with another side.
Right,
you know?
right. Well, that I don't mean
The
that
story of our captain, what we call it, Captain Dick, traveling through hyperspace to meet his love, is just that one.
So
what is
kind of tying into the whole prog rock theme. It is certainly a prog piece.
It's an homage to 70s prog.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically it's not very progressive if it's just a kind of hippie throwback. But
well, I mean, because I wasn't thinking of it as all in one piece. I just listened to it as
separate songs.
Yeah, I mean, I was considering it just song for song.
Okay.
Like I wasn't really considering the connection per song.
Gotcha.
I don't know if I would like thinking about it now. I don't know if I would have thought these flow together. I don't think they flow together perfectly. I think that they are very much separate.
Yep.
Even in the listening, because some records you listen to, every song flows right into the next type thing, and then I don't remember hearing that. But either way, it is from what you're telling me now, it's an entire concept.
Yep.
And yeah, the execution was great, and it definitely did make me think of like this Genesis record, and some of Foxtrot as well, like just some of this earlier prog rock in general. A lot of similar techniques and sounds and styles.
Some identical instrumentation.
Yeah.
Moog Taurus pedals that you'll hear all over the early Genesis, and Rickenbacker 12 strings.
Yeah.
All over the early Genesis stuff.
Yeah. And just feel wise, like this ballad-esque in moments, very epic like moments. Some like really just bizarre.
Definitely.
There's some like bizarre sound landscape things happening. It has all of those elements. It's all in there. So
Nice.
Any fan of prog, any era or artist of prog, King Crimson, early Yes, Genesis, any fan of those bands, I would say should probably listen to it.
Well, thank you.
Give it a shot.
High praise. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I think you did a good job.
My favorite stuff, the early Genesis stuff.
Yeah?
We were talking about one of my favorite albums right here.
So what was your exposure to Genesis like, aside from the 80s Phil Collins era?
Okay, it was because of the 80s stuff. MTV had some special around the time of I Can't Dance. That was like, not a behind the music, but it was, Genesis. And I caught some clips of the early stuff with Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
And I put together that it was the Shock the Monkey guy.
Yeah.
Games Without Frontiers, who I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't for the life of me imagine him being in a band with those other dudes. And then I saw this clip, and it was a little bit of the song Watcher of the Skies. And he has these bat wings on his head, and his face is glowing in the dark, and he's got a cape on. And the clip cuts in with this super staccato unison figure. Anyone who knows the song knows what I'm talking about. But and this odd rhythm that just kind of blew my mind, and it stopped, and he started to sing, and it was just weird. It sounded almost circus-like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was very intrigued by the sound of it, and that was it. I need to find out what these songs are, because the first maybe 15 minutes of the special, it was like an hour-long kind of biography on Genesis, was about the early days in the school, and they had a lot of clips of the early albums. And everything I heard I thought was fantastic, and I just tracked it down. So I knew a song was called The Musical Box, and I tracked it down to this album, Nursery Cryme, and that was where I started. This was the first record I bought.
Wow.
Followed by Foxtrot, because that had Supper's Ready and Watcher of the Skies on it, which were also featured in the special. Yeah. What would happen is on the special, they'd show a live clip, and then in the corner, it would say the name of the song. That's how I tracked it down at that point. I would just go to In Your Ear Records down on their street after school. Yeah. And poke through till I found the song titles.
Right, because there was no internet back then.
Which was pretty tricky, because because there's no internet, because they never put the song titles on the outside of the records. Yeah. So I basically just took shots in the dark.
Wow.
And it was always exciting. This album had, well, we'll get to it later, but it was always exciting to then hear after like listening to maybe 5 minutes of a 10-minute song, then hear the clip that I had heard on the special,
Right.
and be able to kind of like check
Piece them
that
together.
box.
Be like, oh, that's it. This is I got it. This is
That
the
was a
song.
fun time
Yeah.
exploring music that way.
Well, that's the way it used to be for us. You know, I mean, nowadays I don't know what these kids are doing as far as like if they feel
Nothing to explore. They just have to think it. And,
Yeah,
but
they-
that's even harder because you can't just think up something you never heard of.
Right.
You got to find it somehow. And
Right.
how the hell do you find it?
Well, what's their exposure to it that makes them curious to want to explore it, and then I guess exploring it just is that much easier. I mean, I think as soon as you hear a little clip of something, even if you
Yes.
hear a lyric that
Then
gets stuck in your head,
yeah.
you're like, oh wait, what's
That's a
that?
good
what's
point,
that
yeah.
lyric? You just put it in Google, and then they'll bring up the song.
Yep.
So it's pretty. I don't know. I mean, I hope it works out for the new generation as far as like getting them to explore and experiment with music as far as like whatever it is that they like.
I don't think there could be anything wrong with, getting to hear stuff you want to hear.
Yeah.
There's so many albums I had to track down as a kid that we were talking about. It took
Right.
forever.
Yeah.
And
And then you had to come up with the money too.
Yeah.
You had to fucking buy the thing.
Yep.
Now at least, you can listen to almost anything for free.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So just to let you know, I didn't explain this to you, or I didn't let you know that this is actually a German pressing.
Oh,
Yeah. Are you familiar with foreign pressings?
I am not.
Well, so from the research that I did, this could be from 1973 or a late February 1978 issue. German pressing on the Philips label.
Okay.
Yeah, because when these were released in the UK originally, they were on the famous Charisma. label.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So even the information that I found about this, like as far as the confirming the matrix runout numbers,
Wow. Yeah.
it's I can't verify it. That's why I'm saying it could be 73 or 78, because most of the jacket artwork and everything else is mostly identical.
And this originally came out, what, 71, 72?
Believe 71.
All right. I love this about the old prog bands, how they list every single instrument each guy plays. So Tony
Yep.
Banks, instead of writing Tony Banks keyboards,
Came out in 71.
it's Tony Banks organ, mellotron, piano, electric piano, 12-string guitar, and voices.
Yep.
Mike Rutherford plays bass pedals, 12-string guitar, voices. Peter Gabriel, lead voice, flute, bass drum, just the bass
Just
drum.
the bass drum.
And tambourine.
Just the
It's
bass drum, please.
fantastic. This is, by the way, Phil Collins' first album with the band.
Yes.
And he's on drums, voices, and percussion. He also has his first lead vocals on this with the second song, For Absent Friends.
Correct. You know your trivia.
I do. I know my Genesis trivia. I'm a big nerd. We can talk about how the bass pedals he used here were not the Taurus bass pedals. He didn't receive them until the next album. And they have a much thicker sound.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I haven't picked up on any of that. I'm not too familiar with the earlier Genesis catalog. I've heard this one. I've heard a couple of pressings of this one actually. I've had another pressing of Foxtrot before, as well as the one I have currently, which is actually already listed for sale. This one will be going up when this airs. And what else did I have? Oh, I actually had a bunch of. I had a Trick of the Hat. I had
Trick of the Tail.
Trick of the Tail. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I had what is it? Selling England by the
Selling
Pound.
England by the Pound, yep.
I had what is that Broadway one?
The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
Lamb Ladies on Broadway. I had a copy. All of those were West German pressings that I had.
Wow.
Like last year or something. So those were actually all pretty valuable.
So cool.
Yeah. But
Printed, it says right here, printed in Germany.
Yep.
A Charisma recording.
Right.
That's
it's just hard to verify
fantastic.
which year
Which year,
exactly.
yeah.
Because I was trying to figure it out based on the runouts, but the only place you can find information, and if anyone knows better than I do, the only place I know how to verify matrix runout numbers is through Discogs, and
Take a picture of that.
and they're pretty. I feel like they do a pretty good job, but the problem with Discogs is that it's like Wikipedia. Is that it's
Anybody can get down in there.
anybody can provide information for any record, and so therefore it isn't necessarily completely accurate, but I feel like they do a pretty good job. They really do. I mean, that's the nerdest of the nerds that are like submitting information. I never submit any information, and I'm getting my hands on stuff that isn't even listed on Discogs.
Wow.
So I don't. But so I mean, that's the problem, is that I don't know how to. I don't want to put out any false information.
Right.
So
that's gonna happen.
well, yeah, I mean, because it's so hard, especially for all these classic records. I mean, like there's so many different pressings of these, and they pressed within different years. I mean, yeah, it was released in 71, but it's just like, which record do you have? Like right now, I have a goddamn copy. I have a sealed copy of Jimi Hendrix Electric Ladyland. Yeah.
Wow.
But the artwork on the cover is identical. From 1968, when it came out, until 79, there is no significant variation to the cover, to the artwork. So with it being sealed, I can't open it. I can't find out what's inside to verify what year it came from. But all I can verify based on the cover art is that it can be no earlier than 79.
It's no earlier than 79.
The pressing that I have,
Did you say it's 79 is when they changed?
it is where there's a significant difference in the artwork. There's at least something that would be able to be distinguishable.
All right. So if it can't be before 79 and after 79 they changed it, that narrows it down quite a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's still 12, like the 12 years of pressings. It originally came out in 68.
But didn't you just say that yours is from...
It has to be at least from 79. I don't know if it's a first pressing. I don't know if it's from before that.
Oh, I got you. When you say at least from, you mean it okay. I misunderstood what you're saying.
No, I'm probably saying it wrong.
You're right.
I keep on confusing myself.
Yeah, I got you. You have 12 years to deal with. That makes sense.
Right. 12 years of pressing of that record.
Okay. I thought you were saying you narrowed it down to that it could only have come out after 1978 is what I thought you were saying.
No, it can only have come out before 79.
Yeah. Oh, sure. That's a big...
It's 79 or before, but I can't tell, and so therefore I don't know how to market it. Because if you have
it one of those
68
mystery boxes.
I mean, but still, it's just like, what do you tell? Because you want to be able to tell somebody what they're getting. That's the whole purpose of this show. Is like I'm showing you and letting you hear exactly what you're getting. So
that's tough.
I don't know what to do with that.
I think you got to put it out as it is and let people care
on it.
Yeah, let them bid on it. It's
but
that's
then
a risk.
If people
but
are
the
just
fact
like,
you don't want to open it. I mean, that's the only thing you know. You don't want to open it. So someone's gonna either score or lose some money on it. But they're gonna get to open it, and that's probably money well spent if they care about that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's brand new.
I wouldn't do it.
I mean, I have no more sentimental attachments to music anymore.
That sounds very sad, James.
No, I love it. I mean, I get to experience
to the physical media,
all of it. I get to experience all of it.
Gotcha.
And think about it. From my last conversation I had in here with the guys from Hellbent, who are very big record collectors. They have huge collections, thousands of records each.
Oh, okay.
And they spend their time and their money to go out and find the records that they want. I don't know. What they said that kind of stuck with me, and we didn't talk about it, but I remember hearing them say it. I was just like, how, oh yeah, I listened to it once and then I file it away. Or, oh, I leave it out so I can listen to it a couple times before I file it away.
Right.
I have nothing against these guys. I don't think that that's a bad thing to do. I completely understand it. But it's just like, okay, wait, you're listening to it maybe twice and then you file it away.
Mm-hmm.
Like it goes into the library.
Right.
To not come out again for who knows how long. Because and the whole time, you're still buying other records. You're still collecting.
That's what collecting is, isn't it?
No, I know. But I mean, as far as enjoying this music.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got the best deal because I get to find all of these, listen to them.
Yeah.
Verify where they are, what they're from, when they're from, and then listen to the sound quality. And listen to the material.
Right.
And so instead of me filing it away on my shelf at home, I get to send it to somebody else so that they can appreciate it and love it.
Okay, sure. I see what you're saying.
And I might see one of these again. This is actually the second copy of Nursery Cryme that I have. The other one I had was actually a 78 promo US.
Wow.
It wasn't a great copy.
Is there any difference in sound quality when you get into stuff like that?
I don't think so.
It's just the old
I mean,
collector's
some
thing
of them may. Some of them may. I don't think and plus I didn't have them side by side.
Of course,
So I would only have to rely on my memory, which is horrible. So, just how I do this show, by the way. I have no notes.
Oh, it's the only way to go. No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like some people, really go into these things and do all the. I do the research,
sure,
but
yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't take
Oh,
notes.
this is so gorgeous.
Yeah, this is
I
a great copy, isn't it?
Jealous. I have, I've got all the early albums, but I lent them to somebody, and I've never seen them again.
Oh God,
Isn't that the way?
Yeah. Well,
They probably still exist, but I probably won't ever see them again.
yeah. Sometimes they're just lost.
Yeah.
It's not worth the trouble of hunting this person down and saying, "Hey, by the way, those Genesis records I lent you."
Yeah, it's
And who
because,
knows
like
what
you
they did to
said,
them
I
at
can
this
just
point.
pull them up on my Amazon on my phone and plug it into
Listen
my
to 'em.
car and listen to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I do. I've been listening to a lot of Genesis lately, and I can just punch up anything. It's
Pull
crazy.
it up.
Crazy.
I hear you, man. Well, let's try to hear this.
The Musical Box, track 1.
Yeah, it's very masterful, the way these guys compose their songs.
They spent a lot of time thinking about it. You can tell.
You think? I mean, that's the thing about bands back then is that they didn't take a lot of time between records.
Now,
I
these
mean-
guys lived in a cottage and worked out all these early tunes very meticulously. A lot of stuff that ended up on the first 3 albums.
I mean, think about it. So what? The first record was Trespass?
Trespass.
That came out, what, 70?
That sounds right, yeah.
I think it was 70.
Yeah, it was influenced by King Crimson, which was 69.
Okay. 71. Nursery Cryme was the second record.
Yep.
Foxtrot, the third record. 72.
Yep. Selling
So-
England by the pound, 74 maybe, but
Right,
Land
but
Lies Down was 75.
And all those records are amazing.
Yeah.
But you want to, like, think about the amount of time and thought you put into writing a song like this, and then only space it by a year between touring, going into the studio, like rehearsing the songs,
Yep.
going into the studio, putting it down, the mixing, the mastering of it, the publishing of it, going back out on tour, or continuing gigging and touring the whole time,
Yeah. It's a hell of a...
only to start writing a new record
Work tempo.
basically immediately afterwards.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they famously all wrote a lot on tour.
Yeah.
They did a lot of improvisations for sound checks. They were into it.
I mean, as any band on the road obviously must do to a degree, but just with the momentum that some of these bands back in the 60s and 70s had to just crank them out. That's what got mentioned on the last episode too. Is Brian Mastrobuono was Black Sabbath 6 months apart.
Oh my God! Right? Yeah.
6 fucking months. I mean, I had the Black Box CD box set from a few years back, the first 8 records with Ozzy on them.
Yep.
It has the years on it. I think it was 71 to like 76 or something like that.
77.
77.
Never Say Die was 77. Yep.
So within a span of 6 years, they released 8
8
records.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Something else.
crazy.
With Zeppelin
And
1
good
and 2
records.
was like all in one year or something, if I recall. Oh. Here we have Steve Hackett on guitar.
Yep.
One of the first examples I've ever heard of tapping
Oh yeah.
is on this song.
Yeah, that gets mentioned a lot when you do the research about this record. Is the
There's a lot
guitar
of
tapping.
sweep picking, which is very common now. There we go, tapping.
How do they do that? Octave
Pedal.
pedal.
Pan, hard pan, left and right.
Yeah, there's a lot of production tricks. There's a lot of just good performance. A lot of just good instruments and like weird
The
pedals
choice
and
of
stuff.
tones is, I think, very interesting. It's often hard to hear what instrument you're hearing to
Yeah.
identify. I love that. like in a second it's going to kick back in, and for a long time I thought it was another guitar solo, but it's actually a electric piano through a distortion pedal.
Mellotron?
Nope, electric piano.
Okay.
It was a,
Because I
if
know that they
recall, it
use
was
the
a Hohner
Mellotron.
pianette, if I recall.
Oh.
Though it might have been a Rhodes on the record, but live it was a Hohner pianette.
It's cool. Electric pianos are great. They have
you
a great
can
sound.
hear the guitar come in. That's what gives it away.
Hmm.
Every second is meticulously orchestrated.
Yeah. You know this record really well.
Oh, yeah. So right here. Keys.
Oh, easy with the table, buddy. Easy. Sorry.
Yes, that's all an electric piano. There's no bass right here either. Bass pedal. Actually, there might be bass on the record. Live, they do it with pedal. Keys. Keys. Because you can hear the guitar in the back going kind of like... Then the guitar. What the hell's happening here? I don't know.
Oh, he had a lot of weird tunings, right? So it kind of has this sound of like open strings, like open tuning.
Yes and no. This song is all in standard tuning except for the 12-string guitar. That's tuned to an F, like an F sharp chord. So he has the open F sharps, if I recall. But everything else is standard.
Huh.
Steve Hackett always played standard in this band.
Really?
Yep. I think Mike Rutherford did some alternate tunings. Maybe on acoustic he did some alternates, Steve Hackett. But I know he played a Les Paul standard tuning. But I love that. It sounds like two guitars.
Yeah, this song is epic.
Right?
How long is this? It's like
about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes. And at this point, Peter Gabriel comes out all acting decrepit with an old man mask. You just see his mouth moving through this. It's quite horrific and wonderful.
Yeah. Well, they were a very theatrical band.
Yeah.
And he especially was.
Well, he was the theatrical one. The rest of them sat down and played very stoically up until he left.
He put on the performance for
and they did. They literally all just sat down. Nobody else stood up in the band. Mike Rutherford occasionally would with the double neck, but it wasn't until Phil came forward that they tried to be more rock and roll, I guess.
Yeah.
And the Trick of the Tail tour, they all stood up. It was a big deal.
Oh.
For them, at least.
It was like the Bob Dylan and electric guitar of prog rock. It's like the guys stood up, man.
So now the song turns into something else. This is craziness. I love it. All of a sudden. And the drums.
It's great how songs can do that.
This is a great sounding cut here. I could hear every nuance of the kick drum.
Yeah.
So much better than an MP3. My God.
Yeah, well, I mean, getting it through the headphones. I mean,
so lovely.
There's seldom a time I ever do that. This show is when I do it. But I know the records well enough that I'm just like, this sounds good on my speakers in the room. Plus, hearing it in a room is kind of cool too, because if you have the ability to crank it and then just kind of feel the vibrations in the room, like if you're sitting close to your speakers, like
I believe the air moving is a part of the experience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Going right through your head is cool. Yeah. It's nice to kind of
not painfully.
No. I mean, to hear it kind of like the way maybe they did, like as they were recording.
Absolutely,
kind of interesting.
Yep. I agree.
but listening to it in a room is definitely another experience.
Big ending. So good. I could picture them sitting in a room like arguing for 20 minutes about how many da-da-da-da-da-das they're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally geeking it out. Okay, so we have, for Absent Friends, Phil Collins, first lead vocal.
Wow. Second track on the first record that he debuts on.
He was a child actor.
Yeah, I heard
he
about
showed up.
that.
They were like psyched. This guy who's so like personable.
Yeah.
And able to sing his ass off.
Hmm.
And he's my favorite drummer. Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. I think he's a melodic drummer.
I've been trying to do a little research. I came across an interview with him, more recent, like, so he's, getting up there. Actually, he's not, considering, he's
in
like
his
60.
60s. Yeah,
He's not that old, considering some rock legends.
Yep.
And he's fucked up.
And Dick Dale, by the way. Hey, moment for Dick Dale died today. You didn't know that?
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
82 years old. Well, not full silence, but a moment of silence.
Yep.
Okay.
To you, this one goes out to you, Dick Dale. For Absent Friends, I guess that's very fitting. Yeah. That sucks, man. I haven't been on social media all day. I've had a very full day today, and I like that, but that's usually where I hear about it.
Oh yeah.
I'll usually put on the social media. That's
how
the
it
first thing I see is a dead fucking person. I'm just like, no. Yeah,
So
Lou
true.
Reed, first when he died.
Oh God, Bowie.
Open up Bowie.
That was the worst to find Bowie on Facebook.
It all sucks. Like every
Come
time I open up a social media and I see a photo of a guy, I'm just like, no, not of him.
Okay, so here we have some more finger tapping in unison with the organ. No, sorry, electric piano.
Oh, that's how they get that sound, huh?
Return of the giant hogweed. Drums. That hi-hat work is stellar.
Yeah, I guess Phil Collins was probably along those lines of like great unacknowledged drummers, kind of like Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
Like you have to be a true appreciator and like listen to them deeply in order to start to understand and appreciate the significance of their style.
Pretty much. I mean, some of this early stuff is pretty technically whoa. But yeah, so much of that 80s stuff is so straightforward, you wouldn't consider him.
But then even still, some of the later Genesis records is just like synthetic, that it's just like you don't even consider. It's just like, well, he's not playing that. It's like a drum machine. It's some program.
Yep. Even though he programmed it, it's still, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not
Where's
the same
this?
as like...
Oh,
and then so this
ghost
interview I
notes
heard
on
with him, he was just like, the interview I heard with him, he and other peers of his that were basically asking questions to him through this broadcast mention a lot how he was such a hard hitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He himself said he was approached with a question, if what extent did you go through to like tune your drums? Which for a drummer, I mean, I think that can be pretty significant.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I would just hit them harder to make them sound the way I wanted them to sound.
It surprises the hell out of me, especially listening to this delicate ghost roll work on the snares on this tune.
Yeah.
It's like
It doesn't require banging away. I mean, it requires a certain amount of finesse.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that was like maybe he progressed into that, throughout the years.
Oh, maybe.
Because with this being Genesis, it seems to have strayed away from prog style music. Like Peter Gabriel left.
Absolutely, yeah.
Became a three-piece.
Yep.
Much less prog music.
Yeah, more pop. That's
It was
what they were
more pop.
going for. They wanted to make a living
Yeah.
and write a hit single.
Right.
God bless him. I'd like to write a hit single too.
Hey, no, I don't dog anybody for
Right.
wanting to be successful, if with whatever their art is and whatever that takes.
Especially after losing 2/5, of their band at that point.
Right.
To choose to go on and to do as well as they did, it is admirable. But yeah, I can't dig a ton of that music.
No,
I still love Home by the Sea. That's off that was it the Mama album, which I think is a pretty good album.
Yeah.
It has there are moments that remind me of this early stuff, like Land of Confusion, for instance.
I like
the
that
bass
song.
riff in Land of Confusion is basically a Lamb Lies Down on Broadway riff.
Yeah.
But the cheesy freaking chorus guitars make it sound not quite as hard hitting to me.
Yeah. It was a good pop song. I remember
That's a great song.
I remember that song
think so.
specifically from when I was like young, from the 80s, and really loving the video too.
Yep. Oh,
The
the video
video
was
was
great.
great.
I always liked Mama. I always thought that was a great little weird
Yeah.
song. That's All.
I don't know if I know the whole record. Because
they had like 3 hit singles off that. The song Mama itself, which is
Okay.
very slow and scary. And then That's All, which you hear a lot, that little piano.
okay, I remember that
Da-da-da-da-da-da,
Wait,
I
was that
shouldn't
off
sing it.
the self-titled Genesis record?
I'm
with
sorry,
the-
that's what it wasn't the Mama album. It was called Genesis.
Yeah. Because I had a copy of that,
That's one.
and I remember hearing that because
That
that
Home
was the
by the
only
Sea.
single off that record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
no, Mama was a single off that record too, wasn't it?
I don't recognize
No.
it because I specifically remember putting on that record.
Take Me
thinking, like,
Home? Wasn't that record too?
Not a big hit if it was a single. It may have been a single, but not like a big one.
Pretty much
like,
anything that was a video I consider a single, and they had videos for all of those.
Really?
Yeah, not Home by the Sea, but That's All, Mama,
Huh.
Illegal Alien had a single, and Take Me Home. No, Take Me Home's not Genesis. That's Phil Collins. There we go. That's the issue. Phil Collins had a whole
Okay.
solo career at the same time.
Yeah.
That we're talking about, right? That's terrible. I shouldn't confuse the two. Great piano playing.
Mm.
Very busy.
Yeah. This
Guitar solo coming up is fantastic. I still don't know what the hell this guy's doing on this. And you'll hear it. Something with the pedal, or I don't know. He makes some weird noises that I'm sad to say I can't decipher. And I can decipher a lot of guitar noises.
Yeah.
I've been doing it a long time.
I can tell.
This one, I
Yeah.
need to look it up. This one. This I get.
Yeah. That sounds pretty straightforward. Now doubling.
Then he mutes it. Super muted.
Probably
still.
doubled too, like two
Sure.
tracks simultaneously. And the bass is doing something similar.
Basically, doom, 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 doom.
Yeah.
Right, and here, whatever, not right this second. What's coming up here? That I'm like, he's doing some kind of slide thing. That's
it sounds
straight
like
up.
he's like sliding and bending, like all over the place. It's like he's tripped out on
Yeah.
acid. Just
He does a slide, right? A slide with some kind of bend, with something open. I can't figure it out. But it's technical. It's not
but then
like
goes back and slides up high, like up lower on the neck too. You know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's yeah. And then this is like a tape messing with. Like he just like slows the tape on the vocal.
Yeah. On the vocal. Yep.
Yeah. So that could have had something to do with it too. If they were messing with the tape.
Oh, that's a good point. But it's such a clean slide, and that's
Yeah, this some of the moments on this record is so heavy.
right.
It's not what I expected coming from an 80s knowledge of like
Yeah.
80s Genesis. To come back to this stuff and just be like, well, they were doing what?
Some really heavy stuff. Great riffs.
Really heavy, really orchestral. It's like a different type of wall of sound. It's like massive, booming. It's like very layered.
And they did this live. It sounds identical live on any of the recordings. There's the Genesis live album. I've seen some footage. And then there's this tribute band from Canada I go see, and they sound like the record.
Don't they have like the legitimate like props from the band?
They have the legitimate vintage gear too. Craziness.
Wow.
Well, I say legitimate. Their Mellotron is the new digital Mellotron. They don't have that old tape machine, you know.
Yeah,
they used to. They own one, but it breaks down so much they use the digital one.
Yeah.
And that is side 1 of Nursery Cryme.
Yeah, man. You should get into broadcasting.
Epic. God.
It's just one of those records, man, that just like it wears me down because I'm just like, oh, I got kind of.
So much.
Just
it's
gotta
so
sit and
dense.
think about this for a minute.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Before I take on the next side.
Oh, have you heard Selling England by the Pound or Lamb Lies Down?
I have had both of them, but I've only listened to them like once each.
Sent them off.
Yeah, and now they're off in better homes.
The Lamb is my favorite Genesis album, and it's a double album, and I feel like it has 3 great sides. And the 4th side is like, oh, they ran out of stuff and they're just playing some bits. And that said, the 4th side still has a couple of great moments. Yeah. But it's always kind of made me sad how it peters out, whereas the first 2 sides are possibly my favorite music. Possibly.
It's great. Just throw that second record away.
Yeah, that's what you do. You know, it's hard to compete with, say, the Beatles and the Who and whatnot. All right.
Well,
or are we taking a second? We're good to go?
Give me a, well, you know what? Are you going to want a refresher?
I'm still working okay on this.
All right.
I don't want to hurt myself.
Give a little brush here. So, just something I'd like to mention, but with the foreign pressings, because if you're not familiar with foreign pressings, almost always they are this flimsy jacket. It's a really lightweight cardstock.
It was light, yeah. But it looks so good. I didn't. Really
it looks great. It's a high gloss and it's very clean.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
Yeah, you can tell how it's like a little pressed, like it was on a shelf that was maybe too compact.
Oh, okay.
Because look at the spine, like you can see how.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
Yep. That's my one gripe with the foreign pressings. You know, I mean, like, it's unique. It's one of a kind. It's a rarity, whatever. But they're all of them. I've had a bunch of.
They're all flimsy.
Yeah, I mean, I had like a bunch of like I remember I got this one big lot of like records from a yard sale actually of like this guy that was getting rid of all these records, all these like really cool records. A lot of the Genesis came from that I had, and a lot of Talking Heads, a lot of weird random shit. But it was all German pressings, and yeah, they were all like really flimsy, And it's just like I've since had other ones, and yeah. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they're like that, but they are. So more likely than not, if you are out digging, if you're out finding stuff like at a yard sale or thrift store or whatever, if you see a light cardstock, pay some attention to it. Take a look, open it up
because
and try
the
to
foreign
figure
pressings
it out.
are worth more.
I mean, typically they are.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends, but I just think that's a dead giveaway for a rare foreign pressing.
Okay, sure.
So, no, not always. I mean, some U.S. pressings or some like cheaper releases or whatever. But yeah, it seems to be very common from what I've experienced. Yeah. So, what is this song?
This is Seven Stones. If you get into, you can kind of tell like who wrote which lyrics, sort of. I mean, you can tell which ones Peter Gabriel wrote, and like this one, you could tell this is not him. His stuff is much trippier in general. My guess is this is Tony Banks or Rutherford, who were more poetic. But they all wrote music and words and melodies, and then they collaborated. All these early songs are listed as being co-written by all of them equally. This change here is gorgeous.
So that's pretty weird to mention that. I mean, I see here how it says all titles composed and arranged and performed by Genesis, but with it being known that Phil Collins and Steve, what's his name?
Steve
Hackett.
Steve Hackett, yep.
This was his first record as well with the band.
That's correct, yeah.
Phil Collins and Steve Hackett both joined for this record. And then I don't know their story. I don't know like the history of Genesis very well, but obviously there was a falling out and the band fell apart. it dwindled down to 3 members that went on to create everything that everyone knows from the 80s.
Yep, pretty much, yeah.
How did they do that? Who were the original members?
So the original members were 2 duos. Okay, Tony Banks and Peter Gabriel were friends in school, and Mike Rutherford and a guy named Anthony Phillips were friends. They both played guitar, and they joined up because they needed someone. Peter Gabriel played drums at this point, so he could sing. They needed someone to sing on a demo of some songs they wrote. Rutherford and Phillips wanted to be songwriters.
Okay.
Tony Banks wanted to be a songwriter, musician, as did Peter Gabriel. So they joined up to have Peter Gabriel sing. And the deal was, well, you got to do one of our songs too. And they became a group with just the 4 of them. And they went through a bunch of different drummers. Finally recorded was From Genesis to Revelation. And that was that lineup. Tony Banks, Peter Gabriel, Mike Rutherford, Anthony Phillips, and I want to say John Silver was the drummer there. So then they got rid of John Silver. They picked up a new guy, John Mayhew, and that's the Trespass band. Okay. At that point, Anthony Phillips, who apparently was their main songwriter at the time, developed some kind of stage fright and wanted to quit. And they were going to break up over it because they thought that he was the most important part of the band, the driving force. But they decided, no, we'll find a new guitar player. And then they went, well, let's find a new drummer too. So they took a big kind of leap there. They fired the drummer, and they were 3 people: Gabriel, Banks, and Rutherford. Phil Collins, Steve Hackett came through those auditions, and they recorded Nursery Cryme. And that was the same band for Nursery Cryme, Foxtrot, Selling In by the Pound, and Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. At that point, Peter Gabriel, who had had children before the rest of them, felt pressure, felt like he didn't want to be in the band. A lot of different reasons from what I've read. But basically, just growing up is what it seemed to be. He wanted to spend time with his family. And so he left. And he said he was going to leave while they were touring, that he was going to step out of the next album. They were already working on music for Trick of the Tail at this point. So they auditioned singers. They didn't like anybody. They said, let's just have Phil sing, and we'll get a drummer for live shows. They got Bill Bruford from Yes, not so bad, and King Crimson. And
not so bad.
Right?
Yeah.
So he was their live drummer while Phil Collins sang, and the Trick of the Tail album was great. Fantastic. Then they had one more album, Wind and Wuthering, also pretty good. And at that point, Steve Hackett got sick of it for whatever reason. From what I've read, he just got pissed that he didn't get enough material out. At that point, at Trick of the Tail, they broke up the songwriting credits for the first time. And that's where you'll see it's all Tony Banks, Tony Banks, Tony Banks, Tony Banks, and a couple of Mike Rutherford, Phil Collins. Steve Hackett has one song on that record. And then he has nothing on Wind and Wuthering, if I recall. He has an acoustic piece at the beginning of one song. And he got tired of it and quit. And they said, well, screw that.
Kind of
Rutherford can play all these instruments. And the next album was called And Then There Were Three.
Right.
And they had their first hit single with Follow You, Follow Me.
And that record is not a very liked record.
No, I don't think it's any good outside of that one song.
I had a copy. It took forever to move.
Yeah. Nobody cares. I don't like Abacab. I don't like the, like I said, I don't like the tones that they were using at that point. Harold the Barrel.
It's the one lighthearted, not lyrically speaking, no, it's not lighthearted, but
yeah, it's more comical.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess Gabriel wrote the lyrics to this one.
I don't know. But I heard about this like through my research, and I was just like, really? They wrote a song about a paraplegic that's trying to jump off a building?
Is he a paraplegic?
He's like a armless, legless person that's trying to commit suicide by jumping out.
Oh shit!
Harold,
I never got the harmless, legless part. I just got that. Yeah, that's a big joke about a guy about to jump off a building.
Right, but that's why I thought it was so funny. It was just like, what?
That's
really?
terrible.
I know. And then Harold the Barrel.
Yeah, right. Now I'm like, oh my god, I don't even like the song. And then it gets all introspective.
Yeah. That's what makes it prog, right?
Yeah.
It just has these sudden breaks of just
left
like,
turn.
Hey, no, we're gonna do this right now. It's like, hey, you know what? I just got an idea. And it's like,
yeah, here it is. Drums here, great. Oh, he's so good.
That's what I don't understand. When I heard that, it was just like, take a running jump. Take a running jump?
Right.
How does he get?
I thought he had legs. Where does it say he doesn't have legs?
I don't think it says it anywhere, but that's
I think
like
somebody
in
made
the
that up.
research that I had seen. It came up multiple times. That
Wow.
like,
All right.
what? I don't know. I've never been a lyric person. I really have never been a lyric person. I never
It's
focus on
generally
them.
secondary for me. Yeah, I agree.
Seldom read the lyrics unless I hear something. I was just like, what did he say? You know, and then if it pulls me in from there, I'll dive further. If I really want to sing the song, I might look at the lyrics.
I love vague lyrics that make me go just like you said. Like what?
Yeah.
What the what? I enjoy that.
No, I'm a sucker for the mistaken lyrics.
Yeah.
Guy, you know, it's just like. I can't think of any
Sometimes
good
they're
examples of like the mistakes. Oh, actually, one good one that I heard was guy was a story about this guy who was a record like he worked for like a label distribution or something. So he would go visit record stores all the time. He said the funniest story I ever heard of a guy mistaking a song was this young man came into a store and said, "Hey, do you have that record with the song I'm an Asshole Man?" and the guy's just like, "I'm an asshole man? What?" Yeah, he's just like that song, "I'm an Asshole Man." He's just like, I have no idea
I'm
what
a
you're
soul
talking.
man.
I'm a soul man.
I'm like, is that that Dennis Leary song? I'm an asshole.
No, because this was prior to that. But I was
That's
just
great.
like, I would imagine that, like, oh, I love that song. I'm an asshole, man.
Excuse me while I kiss this guy.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, that's a classic one. But that was the first time I ever heard that one. I'm an asshole, man.
I'm an asshole man.
I'm an asshole, man.
That doesn't even make sense. That's terrible.
Maybe he was into anal sex. He was like, I'm an asshole, man. Yeah. But there were so many different variations of that song too. It's like, how do you confuse that, really?
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I guess unless it first came out.
You would think, yeah. At this point in the Genesis canon too, with this lineup, you had a lot of moments where they would do triple acoustic guitars, where they have two 12 strings and a 6-string.
This
is what you'd get, and they'd each be playing something different.
Trying to hear it. Trying to hear the separate parts.
It's hard.
Yeah,
that was the closest you can hear because I had that lead line dropped out for a second.
Yeah,
it happens in a lot of their songs. In the beginning of the musical box, they did this. In Supper's Ready, there's a big section like that. Another thing, if you're really into the nerdism of a Genesis fan, you'll notice that a lot of their songs, and if you read the history, you know this is true, come out of jams between specifically Phil Collins, Tony Banks, and Mike Rutherford. So Mike Rutherford's the bass player, but he also would play 12-string guitar and bass pedals. And on every album, you will find a section that is basically an odd time 12-string bass pedal.
Ooh, easy
like
with that.
Loop.
Easy with that foot, buddy.
Yeah, he's right. Loop, while the keyboard player like just solos over it.
Yeah.
And it's in a bunch of their songs. Like Supper's Ready is a whole set. That's one of their sections. There's I want to say it's called In the Ravine in Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And that's all it is. It's just the three of them going, bueno, deco, bueno, bueno, deco, bueno, while Tony Banks goes for days. You start to pick it up as you listen to every album.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, that's the thing they do. Huh. They like that.
Yeah.
And I think it adds, as opposed to a lot of the other prog bands, the Yes, your King Crimson, I think it sort of adds a looser feel to these guys. That kind of makes them, to me, a little bit warmer than your standard progressive rock band. Also, I think Peter Gabriel's kind of soulful, bluesy vocals are very different from all the other prog singers. We're now in the Fountain of Salmacis.
Is that how you pronounce that?
That's how I pronounce it.
Everyone's
no, he pronounces it in the song.
Does
actually,
he?
Yeah.
I'll have to listen because that came up too on my research. How there's like A couple of people, obviously big fans
Yep.
that were talking about it, mention how they didn't really know how that was pronounced either. They're like giving their best chance, but
Yeah, he says it in there. What I love coming up, there's it's written in the lyrics. There's dual vocals with dual lyrics. You can barely make them out, left and right. I think here. Did you hear right? Did you hear that? There's like this one vocal part on one side.
Yeah.
That drifts with the other.
barely audible on like one side.
And they're about to do it again. Naiad Queen Salmakis. Listen.
Oh, that's where it is.
Yep, the Naiad Queen Salmakis
it's actually
has been
dialogue.
stirred. Yep.
It's Salmakis
yeah.
and the narrator.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Oh, you already knew?
I know.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're talking to each other. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
coming up, and it's the Naiad's talking to him. This is
'cause-
the story of Narcissus, right?
Aphrodite? Right? Isn't there something to do with Aphrodite?
Yeah. Well, let me see. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Let's see if
Take a look.
If I'm thinking of the right one here. Oh no, Hermaphroditus, right? Yeah,
Hermaphrodite.
yeah. Not. Yeah, Narcissus is mentioned in a different Genesis song.
Okay, yeah. They have their moments of that, right?
They
You're-
do. That's Prague.
Yeah.
Another example, kind of simple drumming, but like really masterful control on the cymbals.
Mm-hmm.
The bass is wonderfully busy and melodic as well.
It's got a very, very grabbing hook to it, because it kind of like propels the song. Everything else sounds ethereal, you know. Kinda
Right,
sounds
and it's like, doom, doom.
but then you got
Yeah.
that kind of like groove in the whole thing.
All right, here comes the drama. Lovely. Actually, that's keys. It's tapping. Right? It's like this whole thing.
Could you just be a one-man band? Could you?
It's a guy who does that.
What, on video, I suppose?
Yeah, and he does Genesis songs, and he just got the job playing drums with that tribute band I was talking about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, their drummer, for some reason, can't make this tour. And it was the last minute, and they grabbed this guy off the internet who plays Genesis songs by himself.
Wow. That's great. That's where it pays off, buddy.
Right, right. Dream gig for that guy.
Yeah, you know what? So this is one of those like records where, I mean, and that, I think this goes for like a lot of prog, for people that don't like prog necessarily. You really kind of have to dedicate yourself to it, like to listen to it, and not necessarily even to break it apart and understand it, but just kind of allow it to take you where they want you to go. You know, because
That's well said. Yeah.
I'm not a massive prog fan. I mean, like, I love it. I mean, there's definitely some records I definitely love. And there's moments where I fall in and out of it. So it's really hard. Like you're really helping me out kind of like assessing this record. Because I've listened to it a couple of times already, a few times now. I've heard people talk about it. I've heard all of this, like, you know, information about it. I've read about it. And only listening to it now with someone kind of like helping me guide myself through it, can I really start to like maybe comprehend it a little bit more? You know, because like there's so much going on that you really need to sit down
It's
and
dense
like
stuff,
and
yeah.
not like background noise. Background noise, you pick up that little part, this little part, because some parts definitely stick out, and that's probably intentional.
Yeah.
But when you're listening to the whole thing throughout, it almost has a different feel. Like when you take it from beginning to end, you take it from the top to the bottom, and you go through the whole process.
I agree.
Yeah, that's where now I'm just like, like starting to, like, okay, wait, I gotta reconsider this one. But it's hard. It's hard for people to put in the time with a record these days.
That's why we all do it when we're kids. It's so hard. I was talking about Black Sabbath with you earlier.
Right.
I made that dedication to try to listen to the Black Sabbath albums I haven't heard, because I happened to have some free time this week where I was traveling and I had like a good 30-minute drive twice a day.
Yeah.
So I got through a bunch of albums. It was
get
great.
through a record at a time.
And I miss it though. I miss sitting and like looking at these pictures.
Yeah.
And waiting for the lyrics to come and go, how is he going to sing these words? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Rush is another great band for that.
Really?
To look at the lyrics and like wonder what this is going to sound like. And that's a fun thing to do. You're right. It's hard to do as an adult.
Yeah.
This has been great. We're coming up on the end of this, and I haven't listened to this all the way through in God knows how many years.
Yeah. But then even still, to like really say that you dedicated some attention to it, I would believe you that it's been years. I mean, because you could say, "Oh, I put that on the other day."
Oh yeah, no.
But I mean, did you really listen to it?
Yeah, right. Not like we just. They bring back the orchestral swell. I love that. How many ways can you end a song? Right? It can be bah, or it can be bah, or you can go bah, or and go into Detroit Rock City, but whatever, Love Gun, whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, that is very, very unique for sure.
I love that. Chicago has that song, "Make Me Smile," and oh god, what a brilliant piece. Now on the original album, it's the beginning and like ending of a longer piece, but they made it into a radio single. It's 4 minutes long, but the end has this drum solo. Still, it's lovely. And then it goes into this like unison thing with the band. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's wonderfully dramatic. It's great. What are you doing with that thing?
I'm filming the detail of the record.
Ah.
Of the jacket.
I was expecting you to lift your hands off of it. It was just going to float on its own.
I'm performing magic. No, it's just what I do. It's part of the whole shtick, dude.
Well, that makes sense. I didn't know if that was something you did later, or if you...
Oh, actually, this is actually late for me. Typically, I start doing this prior to playing the record.
Oh, okay.
Because we really kind of just like really immersed ourselves in that. And I was kind of losing track, and I didn't even really want to go through the effort of like, oh, let me get my camera out, let me do the detail on this thing. Normally, I don't know. I'm feeling a little weird today. I gotta admit. Like I said, I've had a full day. Tomorrow's my birthday. St. Patrick's Day today. I have not had a drink all day until now.
Yeah, I gotta say that went down very easy.
Yeah,
I had to slow myself before.
Dude, no,
I got silly.
I'm the worst. I could easily drink like 3 within the time that we've been here now.
So yummy.
And I would be paying for it right now, but I've actually have been behaving. I've been behaving myself. I'm being a good boy today. Even though it's St. Patrick's Day, but that's because St. Patrick's Day is for amateurs. So fuck them. Fuck them all.
Exactly.
If you're getting wasted right now and you can't control yourself and you're slurring your words and you're pissing your pants,
I call that Tuesday.
Yeah, you're just an amateur. This holiday was made for you, and I have no desire for that anymore. Because you know what? I've been there and I've done that, and I'm not doing it again.
And I'm done doing it
Yeah,
right now.
I know better. I know better for holiday or not. That hold on a second. I'm gonna do this one too. I know better than holiday or not. You just don't fuck around with that.
I
Okay?
try to keep it even.
Yeah.
I try to drink the same,
Yeah.
holiday or not, like you say.
Yeah. I just
Now, that's not great for the non-holiday days, but for holidays, I'm a pretty moderate drinker.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Me too. I mean, like it. If I want to drink, I drink. If I don't want to drink, I don't drink. And that's actually a very, very big change for me from my youth to my adulthood. Is that before I would just drink every day of the week, all night. I would drink shit because I was poor, and I'm still poor. But the point was that I would just do it.
Well,
in excess.
we're always poor, but it's like, are you poor with some nice bourbon, or are you poor with some PBRs?
Yeah,
Different levels of poor.
True, and I can appreciate my poorness now, because at least I know what's good, and I know what to appreciate and what to just kind of not think twice about, really. Like this record. I really appreciate this record. I really appreciate everything about this. I appreciate the quality of it. I appreciate the condition of it and in its age.
Right? That's amazing.
Because I haven't kept up this well.
Right?
And this thing's older than me. So, yeah, that's just, that's one of the beauties of this job and what it is that I'm doing is to kind of come across things that are unique and pristine.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to find like a good like original record from, somewhere within the year or close to the year that it was originally released. In this case, 73.
In any kind of shape.
This thing is 7 years older than I am.
Yep.
And it's amazing. It's just amazing. And it sounds great, played great. I think the second side played with a little bit of surface noise.
Yes, I agree. I was going to say it came and went throughout the whole side.
Yeah.
But it seemed to be significantly worse right at the beginning, and then not so bad.
Yeah.
It came back a couple times, and on the last song, I didn't hear it at all.
Right.
So that was something. But still,
which I assume is just like kind of cleaning.
I would assume
if you have a deep cleaner or something like that, that would probably knock that out. I'm assuming.
Probably just a couple plays would also.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's been sitting there.
But I have been schooled by Brian from my last episode on how I should not be treating my records, how I should how I should not be cleaning them. So therefore, I will try not to use an alcohol solution to help clean these things. I find it works really well.
Yeah,
and I find that it's not degrading the
what's
condition.
the complaint, that it will degrade the vinyl?
Yeah, he's saying that alcohol it will damage the grooves.
Okay.
Actually, he followed that up with saying more so than needle, which I can agree with. I can definitely see that, even more so now that he's mentioned that to me. But I don't know. I find it's a very good cleaner. First of all, first and foremost, I feel like it's a good cleaner because if you have an old record and it's not playing well, or it's definitely obviously dirty, what do you do to it? You just use water? Okay, fine. Try water. Try water first. But I was trying the technique, and I researched this on YouTube, and this is where I found the idea, was to do a wet listen. So you actually use like a half and half solution, half water, half alcohol.
Okay.
And you just very liberally kind of get it on the surface of the record, and of course try to not wet the label.
Right. Of course.
You block the label, just get the grooves wet, and just kind of.
And you play it while it's wet,
and then play it with the needle while it's wet.
Oh.
And it sounds good.
It kind of makes
sense.
Sound good. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe it could. Maybe it can
Does
damage
it
the needle.
does it fix it though, or do you have to play it wet to make it sound good every time?
So that's what I should probably test more, because typically I will listen to a record once, typically, and so if I'm listening to it as a wet listen, then that might be obstructing my
Right.
judgment
Yeah.
of the quality of the record, because it could be sounding great wet.
Yeah.
So I do kind of have to give it a second listen, and so I try to do that. Sometimes I'll just play it and not even listen to it, just to know that it's playing straight through, and then go back to it and actually sit with it. It's very time
Yeah, of course it is.
just to do all of these processes, to try either or.
And you have to listen to all of it.
I have to listen to all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone gave me some really great praise actually recently, so I feel like it's worth it. Some guy sent me a message out of the blue, like I instead of like leaving good feedback.
Yeah.
He did leave me good feedback, but he sent me a message.
Yeah.
Just saying like, this is the, you posted, you what did he say? It was like a visual, like you gave an actual audio grading, as opposed to this like, gold mine standard, very good, excellent,
Oh,
or
okay,
mint
You
standard.
actually gave it a personal grading.
Right, because people
Great,
just
yeah.
visually see these things and they say like, oh, this looks mint.
Gotcha.
I mean, you look at this record and you'd say that's mint.
Absolutely, I would.
I'd say it's very good plus. Because I listened to the thing and I'm just like, no, there's some surface noise there, and
Yeah.
that's what I would do. When I grade my records, I try to avoid saying good, very good, good plus, and I just try to describe what I see and what I hear.
Sure.
And so he appreciated it a lot, and he was just like, I'm never again buying anything that's not sound like graded. I was like, okay, great, cool.
That's fantastic.
Then just keep on coming back.
I think you'd be happy with this one if you like the Genesis. This is a great copy.
Yeah, or if you want to get into them.
That's a good entry drug right there.
Yeah.
I love Trespass, but I think this is a level above. Some trivia: that opening song, "The Musical Box," was written mostly prior to the album, prior to Phil Collins and Steve Hackett joining. Okay, and that's why you have that instance where there's the keyboard solo instead of a guitar solo. And from what I understand, Phil Collins like beefed up the middle section where the solos are. He had some input on changing that, but for the most part, that song was done before those guys joined.
Oh, wow.
So there you go, little trivia.
Cool. Well,
If
thank
it's
you.
true, I don't know. I just read this stuff.
Well, that's best as any of us can do, really. It's all out there on the internet, If you feel like looking it up, look it up.
That's fantastic.
So quickly, let me ask you this before we wrap it up here.
Yeah.
How many projects do you have? Like, how many variations might people need to look for if they wanted to find you?
Okay.
There's Dave Tessier, the actor. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in our town currently.
I'm in our town with the Burbage Theater Company.
There's
do
Dave
theater
Tessier, the solo work.
sporadically.
Like you have releases released under your name.
Yeah, this is true.
There's Dave Tessier All Stars.
Yeah, well, the All-Star Band is kind of like the live entity. Basically, you can find me just looking up David Tessier, Providence, Rhode Island. I'll come up on the Google, and you can find some stuff. But it's funny that you ask that, because to me, my initial reaction is like, I only have one project, man. That's just me. My project is me. I do stuff.
Right.
But you're right. It has,
because it's different
can
variations.
It is. I consider myself a performer. I like to do theater. I like to read scripts and bring these characters to life. That's just fun for me. But I what I believe I do is I make music, and I have a great ensemble that I put together to do that. And because it's been successful, and when I mean successful, we enjoy working with each other. We've been allowed to now make up our own stuff, or stuff I've written, they'll play for me. And that's how we have the new record, which is mostly my stuff. But there's a track, one of the smaller tracks is by our drummer, and he plays it all by himself. With the space between, I think it's the second to last track, is just a drum solo and a keyboard solo, and that's just him. That's Nate, our drummer. That's his piece. There's a bass solo that's just Paul.
Yeah.
So we are a band. We work together, but it is just kind of all like you say, it's offshoots of my interest in performing. From my website, you'll find anything I'm doing. But like if I think your question, to break it down, I'm an actor. I will play solo shows occasionally. I have a solo record that's out, but it's not a solo. There's a drummer who plays on it. Then there's the all-star band, which is I call it like a collective of artists. We do projects. We'll do restaurants and cover band stuff, or we'll do Jesus Christ Superstar or Monkees tribute, any of those things. But that's the all-star band, and I think that's it. That's our my four things.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. But no different name under any of those.
No,
It's all Dave Tessier.
It's all just the Dave Tessier, either David Tessier or the Dave Tessier All Stars.
All right. So if someone sees your name in something, then this is what they can look forward to. Basically,
they can look forward to something different every time.
Yeah.
I can't promise it's good, but I can promise it's different.
Right. Well, that's why I was asking, because I feel like from the releases of yours that I know, it seems like they're almost slightly kind of different genres, almost.
Yeah. Kind of.
I mean, like, Dreams in Hyperspace seems to be like a very much a prog rock project concept.
Yep.
And then there was Taurus.
Yep. Taurus is
EP.
more like little love songs,
More straightforward, kind of like rock songs.
For the most part, yep. A lot of the same instrumentation, but it was very stylistically different. And I write what comes. I'm not very good at going, I don't like this because it doesn't sound a different style. Stuff, if it comes out of me, it's because it's stuck in my head and I need to get it out, which is, I don't want to make it sound super noble. I'm not very prolific, but when something sticks in my head, I get it out and I don't really care what it is stylistically.
Right.
It just kind of pops out. And so I don't know if that's good, but
I like it.
It makes what you're talking about.
I admire that. I mean, I really like people that kind of push themselves outside of their comfort levels or just are willing to experiment with different styles of music and
it's just kind of what it is.
Crafting in
I
general.
kind of wish that sometimes there was guys that are like, I'm in a rockabilly band.
Right, and that's all they do.
Somehow that's all that comes out of them somehow, or maybe it doesn't, but they can churn out something in one style. I run out after 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah.
I wrote a metal, a heavy metal song trilogy, 4 songs, and they're heavy. I like them. One of them is on Taurus as a bonus track at the end, but that's all I had. I couldn't just do metal forever. I only had so many of those riffs.
Right. Yeah.
I loved it, but I only had so much, and then I ran out. And the next thing that came to me was some of the Dreams in Hyperspace stuff.
And it's not to say that you couldn't. It's not in your wheelhouse. It's not like you couldn't do something metal in the future.
Absolutely.
But at the moment,
it just
that's all
isn't naturally happening. Tell you what, someone pays me money, I'll come up with a metal song right now for you. If a theater, and it's been my job in theater quite a bit, where it's I need a song of this style here.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I can mimic a style pretty well.
That's a really cool and admirable job, because it's kind of one of those things like being an artist. It's just like, I don't paint what I want to paint, and people pay me for that painting. They ask me to do something that looks like this. Yeah. Like my brother is a great example of that, because he is an artist.
He's amazing.
Yeah. But that's his job. Is that he has to create art. It's art.
I gotta make it up.
Well, I mean, it's art, and he has obviously a lot of control over it. But it's something for a company. They need him to do this, which incorporates these aspects or whatever, and they obviously want it to have a certain look to it, because he can't just show up as a freak show, and and just expect them to say, okay, we'll go with this.
Right, of course.
I mean, you need to cater to
always.
Yeah, to the owner or the boss or whoever it is that's paying you.
I think it's great. I think I love commercial art. I always say it's a craft more than it's an art.
Absolutely.
You're making. I use the analogy of making the table. It's going to need at least 3 legs if you're going to use it. It might be a table with 2 legs. It might be your thing. Yeah. But if you're going to use it, it needs some things. And I feel the same about music or graphic art. If it's going to be used commercially, it has a purpose. There's they want someone to react to a sound.
Yeah.
I think the guys in South Park are amazing musical mimics. as far as like being able to copy a style
Right.
of like an 80s anthem, for instance. They're so good at it,
Right.
and it always sounds authentic. And I think that is as valid a skill as, I don't know, anything Paul McCartney is going to do on his own, where he's just like, oh, I'm just brilliant. Well, that's great too, man. That's probably better. But, Paul McCartney could write you a jingle if you asked him to.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's so easy for him, I'm sure.
That guy.
Because it's like, oh, you just need 30 seconds. Okay.
What I love about Paul McCartney is like all the songs I thought sucked as I've gotten older. I've just gone, no, they're just Paul McCartney songs. They are as good as anything else. It's just different. I would argue that Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time is as good as Hey Jude. It's different. It's from the same guy years later, so you can't compare them.
Yeah.
They're so different and so equally genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm at with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I admire it too. I appreciate you for coming.
James, thanks for having me. Bud.
Thanks, Dave, man.
This has been great. You let me know when we're doing Foxtrot.
I can go get it right.
I'll talk your ear off. I'll be dead.
Vinyl and Vision is a Psychic Static production. Theme song written and performed by Jeff Robinson.